Welcome.
Cool.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Last time I saw you was last weekend in the street, but before that,
Yeah.
the last time I saw you was in the summer, right?
Oh,
When I was
yeah.
walking, I think it was in summer, a
Yeah.
couple months ago, a month or two ago, when I was walking through Granville Park,
Yes.
and you were leading
Oh, that's
that
right.
group.
That's right. Yeah.
There was like a really sunny, nice afternoon. You're leading this amazing group of people.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be smiling and
Yeah,
having fun, and you're fully lit up.
You gave me some credibility too as you walk by, and I'm like, hey, bud.
What was that? What was going on there?
So I do free workshops in the park during the summer. I do them like in like indoor spaces in the winter months, but
Nice.
I find getting people out and being outdoors for what I teach is so good because
Which is
socializing, connection, relationship building. My company is called Social Fluency.
Yeah.
And so my premise is that we don't connect enough in the real world. We just I feel like we're in a time where everyone's moving into a kind of almost like a fast food diet for social, where they're getting like these little fixes and what feels like food, but it's not food, It's like swiping on people or commenting on posts and things like that. It's just, that's not the real deal.
Following people or like being in a chat group, like replacing real connection.
Real connection, yeah. And so, yeah, the premise of my business is that getting back to basics as far as human connection and relationships and meeting people in the real world. I work with a lot of single men.
Nice.
And, it's funny when I've been doing this for 15 years, the apps came out really in full, like they were actually happening about like 13 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, give or take. And so when that happened, a bunch of people were like, oh, dude, you're done. Your business is over. Like, why would anyone do anything other than swipe to meet someone? And I was worried, but then I found all it did was just make most men go to this like kind of rejection proof access point of apps, which made it way easier to connect in the real world. Because if you're the person who's willing to say hi and have a totally normal, casual conversation, you're just like in a different category.
But that skill and we'll say men in particular, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like the number of people that can actually do that and have proper social interactions, that number appears to be shrinking.
I'd say that number is shrinking. I'd say it's always been pretty small, but like when we were growing up, there weren't other options. You just had to go meet people in the real world. You had to either meet people through your community or meet people like chatting them up. And I'd say that it's a skill or a muscle rather, that's atrophying.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's men and women. I think women struggle with it as well. I have a female coach and she works with women when they come through, but I work with the men. And so that's like really where,
and then what, like for example, the group that you're working with, when I walk by in the summer, what sort of exercises do you do with them, or how do you get them, moving? And then what sort of people sign up for that? It's amazing work.
Yeah. So I would say, the people that sign up for it I was just talking to a student today. He's an awesome dude. And people who sign up for my stuff are growth mindset people, because a lot of people think, oh, you either have it or you don't. Like charisma is just like this thing that you're either born with or you don't. And it's the opposite of the truth. Like no one's born charismatic. We don't even know how to speak or walk, let alone say funny shit. So is this like
no swearing. So we have to restart.
But
no, totally.
I can go.
You go anywhere.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Have at her.
Yeah. All right, great. So, the people who don't sign up, the people who are like, it's not for me, are people who believe that they just can't. But the people who do sign up I work with a lot of people in tech. I work with a lot of people.
Couple engineers, perhaps.
Yeah. High functioning, but this one piece is missing. That's like my ideal client. But then I work with a lot of people who generally struggle with a lot of stuff, because if you don't have this social thing, we're a social species. It's the foundational piece for success in the social world. Everything that we do involves people. Even if you're an engineer, you know, you have people that you work for. You have maybe at some point people that work for you. You have to go to conferences. You have to jump into meetings.
You have to talk to people each and every moment of the day.
Exactly.
And you communicate through Teams and communicate through email and meetings and whatever it is. It's not robots it's not AI for the most part on the other on the other end of the thing.
Everything involves people. So, you know, I focus a lot. I tend to work with like single men, but social fluency is body language, conversation, humor, boundaries and assertiveness, how to network really effectively, how to approach people that you feel attracted to, whether it's men or women, just that feeling of like, something's there.
Yeah.
So those are the people that tend to sign up.
And it's got to be, because I understand growth mindset now. I don't think 7 or 10 or 15 years ago I really did. It was kind of frustration for not being perfect or whatever it was, and being stuck and angry type thing. But it's through life, understood that can learn and grow. And then once you start to learn and grow and develop new skills and habits, you're like, well, okay, quite interesting. How far can I go? What else can I learn and do? But what for guys in particular, maybe, who are frustrated and whatever it is, they're missing that piece in their job or tech world or relationship, whatever it is. What does it take for them to take the courage to sign up or make a call with you or come to a free workshop? Like, what do you see this real like relief of coming through the front door type thing?
I think it's pain. It's the opposite of relief. I think it's like this has been a struggle for a while. I've gotten to a point where I'm sick of it, and I can't have another opportunity fall through my fingers. I think that's how it kind of shows up for a lot of people is the pain has to be pretty strong. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like people are at all different stages on their journey. And sometimes I get someone who's like hit rock bottom. Sometimes I get someone who is crushing in almost every area. And they do pretty well, you know, in their dating life. They do pretty well in their career. They have good friendships. And they're just like, I just want to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they're
nice.
Again, that growth mindset of just like a curiosity towards like, how good could it be if I like worked on this piece?
Yeah. And what do they discover? What do they discover about how good it can be, or what's I guess more like what's kind of the one most common facet that they improve on that has this real aha breakthrough in their let's say dating life, for example?
You know, I often say that the dating benefits that come are more of a byproduct than a direct outcome. The dating outcomes and the romance and the, finding a great relationship is actually just a byproduct of being a really awesome person.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have, one of my students that I've been working with for about 7 months we do group coaching every Wednesday night. And he was like, yeah, I did 2 approaches yesterday and just had really nice casual conversations, and they didn't go into like getting a phone number or anything like that. I just, was just chatting with people.
Talk to a human.
I just talked to some, people that I felt drawn to. And then he just kind of moved on to other questions and stuff that were coming up for him. And I was like, can we just pause and just recognize that you're just casually having conversations with people you're attracted to regularly and easily. And it's fun and playful, and you're kind of lighting up their life as well. And so in my mind and in my experience, if you are a social man and you can casually, playfully engage in the world, and you have your shit together in your career and your emotional work has been done and all these sorts of things, a beautiful woman and an amazing relationship are just an inevitable byproduct that will just naturally blossom from that.
Nice.
So I'm comfortable like making I have to do it on a person to person basis, but I'm comfortable making guarantees and, this is what you can expect. Having done this as long as I have, I know where people are going to get at what point.
Nice.
But generally I want to make sure that the person's priority isn't just, I need a relationship.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like that mindset and that focus is counterproductive for the outcome that we're trying to create, which is just abundance, confidence.
You're focusing on a one specific exterior checkbox, right? Whereas if you fill up and build the skills from within, it's abundant city all over the place eventually.
Exactly.
With a little bit of patience.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it does take time. One of the things that I always preface when I work with people is like, this is a multi-month process. This isn't like I'm going to give you some, quick fixes and lines. It's like, no, you're going to have to learn to calibrate to these different situations. So it's going to take time. It's going to take, patience with yourself and a mindset of enjoying the process.
Nice. What's the what's kind of the vibe or the summary on, I guess, from the men's perspective here in Vancouver on the dating scene? Are people frustrated, or are there more guys and girls or less girls and guys, or what's kind of the most common piece of feedback that you hear about what's happening out there?
I hear a lot of people saying how frustrated they are with the apps.
Yeah.
So I think
the apps, allow me to interject. The apps are designed to make you crazy.
Well, they're designed to keep you on the app. They're designed to
keep you on the app.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which makes you crazy.
You guys have conflicting motives.
Yeah, the one says it's designed to be deleted. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. They're not making money if you delete the app.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So I think people are frustrated with the apps. What I do hear a lot, and I hear this from my wife's clientele. So she's a tattoo artist. And so her clientele are pretty much exclusively women. And they're young, 20 to mid 30 kind of range. And they're all, every time she tells them what I do, they're like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Send them to Devon. Send them to Devon.
Yeah.
Send them to Devon.
Yeah. So I think the women are frustrated with the men. It's kind of a weird situation. So
it is. Yeah.
We live in an environment and a time where men are scared to approach. They're scared to try stuff because if they fail, they feel like there's a lot to lose. But then we also live in a time where the apps become the only option for both men and women. Because
we're working at home, a lot of people, and not our social game.
Yeah, we don't
get
as many opportunities. Yeah. So and again, we work with women as well, but when particularly my students are going out and approaching women, they're I'm sure there's been, lots of uncomfortable, not so great.
But you live.
Things.
You
survive.
Most of the time, there's been one death.
Yeah, one death, only one.
Approach.
But the reality is, either it goes really well, and you exchange numbers and you go on some dates, or it goes moderately, and the guys are constantly getting the feedback from women that they approach. I'm so glad you did that. Even if she's like, I'm in a relationship or I'm not interested, she's like, a common thing that the guys are hearing is like, thank you.
Nice.
Like they're doing a service.
Yeah.
Because the trick is, there's a lot of weirdos out there who can't approach effectively, and they're
the ones sitting in the chair across the bar, just like doing the stare game, right?
Yeah.
Just like doing the creeper game.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people who just aren't calibrated,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're creating a environment where other guys are hearing, oh, guys are creepy when they do this, and this. But what guys never hear is, but here's a great approach. Here's how, a beautiful woman saying, here's how I would really love to be approached.
Mm-hmm.
And the essence of that approach is just be cool, just be normal.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to be this big, wild kind of bravado approach. The best thing you can be is normal.
Mm.
It's like
tricky
when you're nervous,
because you're nervous and you're comparing to the guy who showed up in the Lamborghini or whatever,
right?
Or you're comparing to the guy who's 6'5" or whatever,
totally.
And so you think you got to be something else,
totally.
Right?
But I'm telling you, the absolute best thing you can be is normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most underrated thing in the dating world right now is just being a normal guy who can have a regular conversation with a beautiful person at that. Yeah, you feel a little bit nervous. This is the thing. So when you came and you saw me doing that was a free workshop.
It was so fun. You were having a great time.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, what's up? And these people are all like, oh, wow. They're waving at people.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He knows humans. And like, he walked by like a human said hi to him, right? It's so crazy.
Yeah, my wife has walked by a couple of times and just come over and kissed me. And I was like, yeah, who was that? But I feel like if you can drill these behaviors over and over. So what we're trying to get to is the worst advice you can get is also the best advice you can get, which is be yourself. But it's the worst advice. It's useless advice. Whenever anyone, it's so funny because I have some social media things that have done pretty well. And
TikTok, eh?
TikTok is
Nice.
crazy.
Check out TikTok.
But the comments are so often like, bro, don't overthink it. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. Great advice. If you can genuinely be yourself when you're feeling really nervous, more power to you.
Right.
But most of us, when we feel nervous, we put on a mask of self-protection, this kind of like layer where we stifle ourselves. We hold our throat. We tighten everything up. We're unemotional, all these sorts of things that kind of like protect us. And what we need to do is drill patterns of behavior over and over and over, literally hundreds of times, until you get it not from this like unconscious behavior thing that you do when you're hanging out with your friends and you're relaxed and you're feeling chill. That version of you, awesome. If you can directly translate that into a high pressure situation with someone you don't know, more power to you. Go for it. Nice. You don't need any help. But for the rest of us, which is everyone, when you feel nervous, which is a normal reaction to a high pressure situation, when you feel nervous, you change your behaviors. And in a way, that's still you being yourself. It's just not the most attractive version of you that you can be. Yeah. So when you saw me doing that workshop, again, that was a free workshop. That's not going to be my high, super powerful level stuff. But some people come to that workshop and that's all they need. And they get like a reframe where they're like, oh shit, I can do this differently. I can show up in a different way. I can kind of extrapolate the things that I do in my regular life and I can apply it into these higher pressure situations. But it's body language. It's like removing all like the nervous tics, the little things that we do, and then replacing them with more confident, relaxed,
or like a posture thing,
hand gestures, facial expressions,
and all of this, as I was checking out your social media, it's all detailed and really specifically and with really specific titles, and it's really great. And
thanks, man.
Some people would some people be like duh, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But I work with engineers, and
right.
A lot of us need these sorts of skills, but a lot of us also really gravitate to very obvious, specific directions on what to do. And then you get it and you learn it and you go over and over and over. And you're like, boom,
exactly,
I'm changed.
Exactly. It's that integration process it has to be slow. It has to be steady. It has to be like, spot by spot. I tend to work with a lot of engineers and people in the tech space because they have that beautiful mind. But
really,
mind,
I love working with engineers.
Honestly, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Love and hate at times. Yeah.
Well, they just understand things so beautifully when they're technically explained. And that's the approach that we've taken, which is like, just break it down to its component parts and work on these things one at a time and just watch them stack.
Cool.
So yeah, body language, a big one that I see with a lot of men and women. But again, I'm speaking to men, is they smile too much. And
why is that?
Well, it's a protective mechanism. It's like it's
some sort of mask.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the thought is nice.
And when you get it and you think of people that smile too much, you're like, you're making me awkward.
Yeah.
You're making me feel awkward, man.
Yeah, and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there's like a saccharine nature to it. It's not real.
Yeah.
We as men unconsciously, women like instantly pick up on this shit.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
they're like, ooh, man, social scientist. It's amazing. It's really, I mean, it's part of their evolutionary process.
The women are
yeah, they get
different from a different
they get
point. They really get it.
They get
incredible.
It. So when a guy has this kind of like fake smile on,
they're like fear. Like what are you hiding?
What are you
stay
hiding?
Away, yeah. Stay away from me.
There's something dangerous here.
You're compensating for something?
Yes,
no.
Exactly. And so it's so counterintuitive because so many people I work with, they're like, but I want to smile because I'm happy and I'm nice. I'm like, I disagree.
Just be happy and nice on the inside.
Just come from a neutral place. Yeah. The other thing is when you fake smile all the time, the metaphor I like to think of is like smiles are like diamonds.
Yeah.
And if you flood the market with cubic zirconia, I think that's what it's called, the fake diamond, those fake ones, then a real diamond, it doesn't stand out. It doesn't have the same value. So the value of all the diamonds that you're putting into the market goes down. So if you're smiling all the time, when you genuinely smile, it doesn't mean anything different than when you were just kind of awkwardly kind of fear smiling. So what I get people to do is work on just letting go of all that tension. Because what it is it's this desire for approval.
That's it.
I want you to like me. I want you to,
because I'm making you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But really,
I'm approachable.
I'm approachable.
That's the thing that's the term that people always say. I want to be approachable. I want to be approachable. And it's like,
take your mask off.
Take your mask off,
right.
Because women are going to be very uncomfortable with your presence in that way. They're not going to trust you. They're instantly going to see through your bullshit, and they're not going to want to move closer to you. So neutral, and then smile when it feels like it's coming from a genuine place.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you got a guy with his buddies. Maybe he's with another buddy or something at a lounge or a bar or something like that.
It's not usually my specialty, but I'm happy to work that environment. I'm daytime.
Oh, really?
Almost exclusively, but like I'd say like 90% of my focus is daytime stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Like real life. I had a couple of drinks last night and I woke up with a hangover, but I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah.
I'm 43. I'm married. I'm not like a partier anymore. Yeah. A lot of the people that I'm working with, they don't want to go out to clubs. They don't want to go.
Nobody wants to go.
No, they want to go to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
They want to walk down the street.
So they're in Whole Foods. They're getting some oranges. They see someone attractive that they're attracted to, getting some bananas over there. Yeah. What are the 3 steps? What are the moves? What has to be done? Like what's after you take that deep breath and like I'm committing to do something?
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you talk to a woman?
It's the title of this this episode. So you have to first understand that she's already clocked you.
That's right.
Probably before you've clocked her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when you're like walking through the woods and if they're like, if you ever see a mountain lion, like
cougar's already been on your tail for a while.
Yeah, it's already got you. Yeah. So, she will have subtly picked up on you already. So your first impression has already been made, which means you are always setting a first impression all the time in every moment of your life.
As soon as you leave the house.
When you're outside, you're setting first impressions instantly. So that's where this like full integration needs to happen, so that it's not something that you like compartmentalize to, I'm going to go talk to this person. You live in this state of like, I'm a confident social man. I interact with everyone. So ideally, best case scenario, you've already socialized and chatted with one or two people
in the market
in that moment. Like she's already witnessed you
saying hi to the
bantering
person,
with someone,
like smiling,
about,
being comfortable with other humans.
Exactly. So if that's been witnessed, and now she's going to be
making them laugh.
Exactly. You're done. You don't really need to do much else. If you've had a good interaction with someone, you've created what's called social proof. And this girl's checking out the bananas. Funny that you chose that, but whatever. Okay, so she's shopping for fruit.
Bananas.
Yeah, all right.
Big ones.
Plantains.
6 of them.
So ideally, she's already seen you having some fun banter with a little old lady who's, picking an avocado, and she's picked up on, your energy already. So now when you, ideally, that's step one.
Yeah, you're already in this state.
And the cool thing is, that's where I want you to live. I want you to live there. And I'll tell you what, life's better there. Life's better there. Crazy opportunities happen. Magic happens. The world is a beautiful, magical playground.
Full, beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's great.
Amazing.
So you lose it for every couple days and then you get it back.
Yeah, you're allowed to. Totally.
Come back, fill it up.
Absolutely. I mean, especially through the kind of various stages of the pandemic, I went through times where I was like, how am I supposed to do this?
Yeah, I'm empty.
Right? Yeah. But like, for example, when I was coming in here for this session, there was one of your neighbors was out there trying this new thing. She broke her leg or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, had a little bantery chat with her.
Nice.
And so just making it like a part of how you engage in the world. So that's step one. And you just living in that.
Sometimes during COVID, especially during that period, those were the only interactions that some people had during the day.
That's right.
Like at the coffee shop or at the grocery stores. They were so meaningful.
So meaningful. Totally. And
to the people on the other end too.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I think through that process, we learned the profound importance of human connection, like on a level that I don't think any of the people in our generation or the generation above us have witnessed, and certainly not the generation below.
Yeah,
because I think we just suddenly realized, oh God, that is the best feeling, being around people. Okay, so step one is you just are
in the state.
You're just that
you
guy.
Are.
Yeah. Step two is you make eye contact.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Scary.
It's
terrifying.
It's the first.
It happens.
It's the first touch point.
Yeah.
So being able to hold eye contact for a second, ideally, you hold it longer than she does. Now she will look away. When she looks back, you cannot be looking at her still.
Ideally,
because then it turns into creep.
It
turns into, you were talking about the guy who just sits there and stares at the bar. So staring is where they look away and then they look back
and then they run,
and you're still there, and that's creepy. But if you hold eye contact, then you know that you feel that anxiety come up, the tension builds. She looks away, then you look away, you get back to what you're doing, and then you kind of meander into her space. She will almost without a doubt look back at you, because from a status dynamic, you have just exerted dominance and shown that you're not afraid. And it's not like you're, being domineering and holding someone down. You're just being like, I'm comfortable with this. And then she'll look away, and then you do your thing. And then the third step is you kind of are in range, and you make a situational.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is a very innocent approach. It's very conversational. It's very situational. It's non-sexual. It's just a, hey, how's it going? You know,
nice day for bananas.
Nice day for bananas. Yeah, you really set me up here.
Want to see mine?
No. Yeah, you definitely don't want to take it there.
Date too, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Right?
But you ideally you just say something funny, playful, you know, not too obvious, but also don't. It doesn't have to be that original. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It just has to have really solid,
hi,
relaxed
how's it going?
Body language. Yeah, hi, how's it going? Yeah. Awesome day to be, getting shopping out, and
isn't there a time restriction between the first eye contact and actually doing something about it?
Yeah, I mean, people say there's like a 3-second thing, but I think that's more just because people, freak out and they decide not to. I think it's probably a good attitude. I don't subscribe to that anymore because I don't have that. I still have, social anxiety, and I still have this feeling that comes up in these situations, but I know that if I want to, I will. So I don't think that 3-second rule applies forever. I think it's more of like, don't lose your will, just go do it. I would say you could leave it for a couple minutes, and if you run into her again in one of the aisles, you can be like, hey, I feel like we kind of had a moment there. I just wanted to come say hi. What's your name? I'll often in grocery stores is great because you just look in their basket and you can just sort of, you can make a pretty quick assessment of someone's lifestyle. 2, you can be playful and cheeky and kind of make up some kind of weird casserole that they're going to make with the various things in there.
Your fruit casserole is really great tonight.
Marshmallows. Okay. Yeah. So you can, it's a lot of opportunities. Grocery stores,
good content in the basket,
dude. Tons of content in the aisles. Tons of content. If you see someone reading one of the everyone's like health conscious now. My wife makes me read everything because damn, you need to. So if you see someone reading something, you can be like, it's real, like, one of the ones that one of my students does that's really funny, which is excuse me, miss. It's not a library.
That's actually quite good.
If you want to read it, you can buy it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's very funny. But you have to do it with a straight face. You have to do it really, and they'll be like, "What?" And you'd be like,
"Just kidding.
We got rules.
You have to go."
Yeah, we got rules here.
Security's coming.
So there's, again, the whole thing is, if you can be playful and you can be relaxed and you can be normal, you're good.
Yeah,
it's gonna work. Again, but it's all about being able to translate how you are normally in regular situations into these high pressure situations.
And so, dating aside, like in the work world as well, we all sometimes wear, like in the corporate world, one mask at home, and well, we wear ourselves at home, and then we take this other mask to the office. But how do you how do you stay? And you've been doing this 15 years or so, correct?
Yeah, 15.
How do you stay kind of current and present and motivated and it's not just single men that you work with, so perhaps I've answered my own question, but the whole human connection piece, but for the dating and the single men piece, and the women that you work with as well, because how long have you been married?
Married for 4 years, with her for over 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's getting better. It's getting better.
I always, there's not too, I don't follow too many people online, but I check out your stories every now and then. Cool. Every now and then I
She's
see,
in there.
I haven't met her. Yeah. I would perhaps be lucky enough to one day, but I'm like, they have something quite real going on. Did you get married in Vegas?
We did. Yeah. We eloped in Vegas.
You eloped in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was a funny experience too, because, it was no one, it was just the two of us. But when you're at a wedding and you don't know the people on the other side of my wife's aunt once removed or someone like there's a bunch of people at the wedding that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got married in Vegas, and then we were walking down the strip, and she's dressed in her gown and I'm dressed in like not a tux, but like, black and white. And people are like, oh shit, those people just got married. So people were buying us drinks and
so fun.
celebrating and like congratulating us as we're walking. So it felt like we're at the biggest wedding and everyone was on the other side of the family.
That's interesting.
It was really cool.
That's
we
cool.
had a great time.
Huh.
Yeah, we have a awesome relationship and it's just getting better.
How? Why?
How? Why?
Tell me more. How is it possible?
We're both very committed to doing our own work, and we're very committed to figuring out how to have more fun together. So I'd say we prioritize play and fun at a very high level.
Nice.
And we have this commitment to figuring stuff out. And that's like marriage. I think anyone who puts a ring on someone's finger should be like, I'm committed to figuring stuff out with you. It's not, I'm not expecting it just to be awesome and work.
That is ideally how it should go.
Yeah. Because, stuff's going to come up that's outside of the range.
It's not like you get married and then it's perfect.
No, I mean, I'd say most of our challenges came after we got married, but it has gotten so good.
That's great.
If the trajectory remains, which I'm not counting on it staying exactly at this angle, but there'll be ups and downs. But man, it's just like I'm falling more and more in love with her all the time. It's really cool.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I've read like this week. I'll share what I can, but I just have a whole new kind of appreciation on basically what it means to love and receive love. Because I've been divorced for 6 years. Before that, we were together for 12 years and married for 6 years. But it's been 6 years now, so I had to go through. At the age of
6 years of dating, 6 years of marriage, and now 6 years of being divorced. That's kind of an interesting
so
life cycle.
I think we're moving into another
next phase
of something, perhaps. So got some people praying for me, right? Oh yeah, you just stay tuned.
Whoa.
We'll see. We'll see. Very interesting. Oh, that is quite interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting. Something cosmic about that. Some roll of the dice happening here.
Yeah. Okay. And it actually everything usually happens in September too, or around this time of year. But either way, at the age of 36, I had to,
36.
Have all right. There's a lot of things going on here with our numbers, but I had to, have my entire identity essentially changed and crushed and crashed and heartbroken.
Yeah.
And then eventually learn how to be single again.
Yeah.
But what really has happened, and that was a very hard ending on my side. And then also that kind of coupled with, I kind of realized more that my parents' divorce when I was 13, 14 years old actually really affected me quite more than I perhaps ever realized.
Okay.
So it's been, especially lately in a relationship that I'm in, just this real learning of what it means to receive real love and what it means to give real love and what that commitment really is and feels like, because I'm kind of jaded and colored by these previous experiences. So naturally I had these walls up or didn't actually know that it's okay to receive that and what that feels like. And also, but really how good it feels to really fully love.
Yeah. Without like need.
Yeah. Without need. Back. Or for me, it's been a lot of like fear, if I'm going to get hurt again or whatever it is. I can't fully go. So I will sabotage something and screw it up.
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, there's a good possibility that's not going to happen. So just fully open up and let that come in.
Yeah. And like,
and so all of that, so I feel you and understand you, how when you say, and trust and believe and know when you say that things keep getting better and better, because I can see how it's possible. You just pour all this love and commitment and trust into each other. So I can see how it can just build and build and build. And you're like, wow, this is my person. This is great.
Yeah. And they always say like don't fall in love with potential, but I don't think it's possible to not take potential into account.
Yeah.
But then I think with what's happened with me and Stephanie, it's like this, a new level has been unlocked, which feels really exciting. I'm curious, without sharing details, because it's all very,
I love it. Yeah. The show is really for people to ask me questions.
Yeah. Good. Well, it's fun just to have like a conversation.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when you think about like, if it doesn't work out, the fears that come up, all that sort of stuff, what happens when you play with the idea that it's all perfect, it's all just another kind of peel for you to pull back on your own experience here on Earth, as much as it's fun to fall in love and how important having an amazing partner is for just, life and success. In the end, it's just you. It's just you're going to die alone. It's just your experience here. And, what if all of this stuff that's happened and is happening is just so perfectly preparing your soul for whatever's next? And just kind of like, what does that feel like when I say that?
Yeah, that feels not great, because I'm like, well, no, I just want to be in love and stay in love. But I think like being in love and love is again kind of like a state of being and existence. So ideally it's not dependent on a something exterior. It's nice to have a place where it can join with more love. But yeah, I and I have a certain outcome that I'm hoping and angling for, and I do a little bit of thinking about what happens if it doesn't, right? But yeah, I think I've survived things before, and again, I sort of believe and trust that you can survive anything again. But that is really the state of being, that you can't have too many holes in us and assume they're going to get filled by someone else.
Exactly, because inevitably that person will need to fill up their own stuff. And then if you, which it doesn't sound like you do specifically, but if the listener is kind of sitting there expecting, well, you're supposed to be taking care of this for me, then resentment forms and these expectations and it's definitely a self-sabotage pattern.
Oh yeah. So I'm like in the midst of having not only a second chance, but a third chance now, which is I think I've finally at least gotten this incredible lesson. But one of the challenges that have existed in this relationship were really, my fears and insecurities projecting onto her, and then kind of manifesting in her insecurities in her that I was resenting, which I was helping to create, which is wild. Which is wild, because I was not ever fully 100% committed, right? And so I was causing these insecurities on the other end and then resenting them.
Yeah.
But really, it's like, wow, turn that off, get your shit together, focus, be a man, get into it.
Totally. It's so funny how we like, it's also like a protection mechanism, I think, that people do, is to like,
if I blow this up, I won't get hurt.
Yeah. And also if I make them slightly more insecure, they'll need me more. I'll be in a state of like, I can relax because they want me and I don't need to worry about, them taking their love away. But counterintuitively, when you really just love the hell out of someone,
it's so cool.
They get to have that experience, and then they send that back to you, and then you get to have that experience, and it becomes this like virtuous cycle between the two of you.
Yeah, and it's
beautiful.
Yeah. It's taken me this long to understand and appreciate what you just described.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people struggle with it. Like, beautiful view. We're looking out into Vancouver there, and it's a lonely city.
Serious.
Like a very lonely city. And I think people are scared, but they're desperate to connect.
But I think that is, there's all sorts of reasons to not do this podcast and have my living room look like a freaking studio and stuff, and tired at the end of the day and all that. But I think we're like hearing you describe your experience with your wife, and just seeing and hearing these different models of, oh, he's married and it's getting better and better, and this is how he's doing it. It's not perfect. Here's a couple steps. Like, it's a different model to model, because there's all sorts of crap out there in society and life and all that is making us the opposite, making us miserable and need to buy into this other stuff and physically buy other crap to fill our gaps. But this is free, right? This is free, a free model to copy, that it's a different possibilities out there.
I mean, not totally free.
No. Well, it
is free. And like when it comes down to it, my whole like business model is give away as much as I can, very freely, very comfortably, very kind of like from an abundance mindset, because inevitably people will raise their hand and be like, what else you got?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah,
you have anything else?
Yeah.
And that's just like how I feed my business, is just giving a bunch of stuff away, which is, I think, a common model now with like social media and stuff. People just giving stuff away.
And like, wow, you made me feel and learn this. I'm gonna
I'm curious to know
keep
more.
Coming back, right? And
Exactly.
But for all the lonely people, and I've spent over the past however many years, like a lot of lonely nights walking the streets and doing all that, like, it sucks. And then you get on the apps and there's thousands of people that don't want to be on there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be on the goddamn
but they're
apps.
not willing to make eye contact in the real world.
This is true.
So if you're the person who's able to be the long arm to reach out and be like, hey, how's it going? And people may not make eye contact with you. So, that situation that I described where, you're being the man and then you guys make eye contact and then you go and approach, that's like the best case scenario. The more likely scenario is you're being the man, you're chatting with people, she'll clock that, and then she won't look at you. She'll avoid eye contact. She'll just do what she's doing, or she'll look at her phone.
Yeah.
And then it's your job just to walk over and then, from, let's say, like 5 to 10 feet away with a loud voice, be like, hey. And the produce section is great because you can be like across, one of those little stands, and you can be like, hey, how's it going? So, best case scenario, you guys make eye contact. More likely scenario, and not the worst case scenario, just more likely scenario, she just won't look up and she'll avoid that tension. And then your job from an assertive place, which is you're allowed to make an approach. If she doesn't want to be approached, you just have to respect it. That's assertiveness. I'm responsible for my own actions. I'm a social person. I was chatting with those people. Now I'm chatting with you. It's not a big deal. But if she, rejects it, you just have to be okay with that. Now, the rejection, in my mind, needs to be a clear, I'm not interested. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep chatting because you're just a person and I'm just chatting with you.
Totally natural. Yeah.
And it's normal for me just to, someone doesn't give me a lot back because maybe they're a little nervous. That doesn't mean that I'm going to shut down instantly. I'm just going to be like, cool, well, you're a little nervous. I'm just going to talk about this vegetable that I just found that I'm really excited to try. I've never tried it before, and then I'm just going to keep the conversation going with really strong body language, really relaxed energy until that person feels comfortable enough to be like, yeah, actually, I have tried that. It's really good in soup.
Nice.
Which you'll find that if you can just push through that little bit of tension where there's like this awkwardness, and because everyone's awkward.
Because everyone's on guard. It's like, oh, here's a creep, or this person wants something from me, or you're making my life complicated.
Exactly.
You're super weird and awkward.
But what almost all the guys are experiencing is people are so stoked to have a little bantery conversation because it feels so good. We're a social species. You go back to when we were tribal or when we were monkeys. those social dynamics and interactions were directly associated with our survival. So if you interact with someone in a positive way, you release all these positive chemicals in each other's bodies, where it's like, oh yeah, like this is what it means to be human. So if you can do it in a really charming but normal, again, I come back to just be a normal person. If you can do it in like a playful yet normal way, you're just releasing, you're like a dopamine dealer out there, just dealing good
and you're
chemicals.
just leaving these like pockets of awesomeness all around town.
Totally.
It's like when I go into Wicked Cafe down here on the corner. I'm like a junior celebrity down there. It's great. It's awesome in there.
Exactly.
It's so fun.
Exactly. Now imagine you had 20 of those places around town where every time you went in, it was like you were Norm at Cheers.
And then this is your life.
Exactly. This is your life. And now you've created an ecosystem that as you move through, you're not in a cold, kind of insular city. You're in this wide open series of different biodomes that you can go into. And there's like these fun people to interact
with. And you've left this energy all around town, and you've left the world kind of a better place just by being you.
It's the social butterfly effect. When you're out there being social, you give other people the kind of okay to be social themselves. Like I've been in cafes where it's quiet and nothing happening and just kind of like this tension. And then I'll start chatting with someone, and then I'll chat with someone else, and then I'll go back to work. And then suddenly the place starts lighting up.
Yeah, you're magic.
Conversations are happening around me that are unrelated to me, but it's because I've given permission. I've given permission, and I've just said, "Hey, this is the normal thing to do. We're in a cafe, This is
your phone down.
You put your phone down. Yeah, exactly." Cool. So, honestly, like not to give myself too much credit, but I think this is what the world needs right now. Is
how'd you get into this?
Growing up, I moved around a lot, and I had to become like social. So I became like a natural. I could just get into a new school, like literally every year, new school, new start. And I became really adept at getting into the most popular groups and being able to date the pretty girls and just living that kind of life. Every year I had to like kind of figure it out really quickly. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just a natural. In grade 10, I went to Columbine High School. So I wasn't there for the shooting, but I was in university when the shooting happened. But, I knew the teacher.
Wow.
I knew one of the students who did it. I didn't really know him well, but I took a class with them. I was a grade above them. They did it in their senior year, and I was in university when it happened. But I was freaked out. I was freaked out by the fact that it had happened so close to me. Fast forward, I'm in university, I'm finishing up school, and I'm diagnosed with skin cancer.
Oh.
And so I have a piece of cancer about as big as the flat part of my thumb right here on my face. And so I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but I have a scar that runs down my face right here. So at 23, I have major reconstructive surgery, and I'm left with this big scar, and my face is kind of dragged down, and I go into a depression. I become super reclusive. I'm limited to the friends that I already have. I'm not making new friends. I'm too scared to strike up conversations with new people, and I'm just like really shut down. And fast forward, I don't have some kind of crazy moment where but I just get to a point where I'm like, I don't want to be a guy who peaked in high school. I want a cool story in this lifetime. So I start trying to figure this out for myself, and I work on myself, and I watch people who are good, and I start to rebuild my confidence through readings and just kind of educating myself. And then I get to a point where I'm better than I was before, because before I was a natural. I didn't know what I was doing. Now I'm like technically sound. I understand why this thing works the way it does. And now I can apply it even when I feel nervous. And so then I started working with some friends who were also into this type of stuff. And we like kind of formed it into a training system. Nice. And that's what Social Fluency is. Beautiful. So yeah, that's the kind of like hero's journey that I went on.
So now, you know, you've been in a dark moment, probably a couple along the way. You've learned to rebuild yourself in a certain way. You've mentioned magic a couple times. You're fueled by love quite a bit. You've been doing this for a while. It's still quite fun. What's the vision? What's the big goal? What keeps you going? What's the drive? Like, you know, we feel this, and I totally agree with you. Like, this sort of human connection, we need this in the world. This lights up the world. But what's the thing that before you drift off to bed, if you're not thinking about your amazing wife, you're like, this is the thing that I'd really, really love to do?
Pickleball. Oh, dude, I'm not gonna derail the conversation, but I'm obsessed. I would say, like, my vision for this is, like, I don't want to be like a Luddite where I'm like, you know, technology is the worst. But I'm like, I want to remind people of the magic that is the human experience and the social joy that we experience in the real world. So you know, I don't have like some kind of grand vision of a million people that I've impacted, but I just want to keep. I love what I do. I love it so much.
So cool.
Like, I don't have any I can't wait to retire stories. I want to just keep doing this forever and ever and ever. It's the most rewarding, inspiring thing I've ever done. I've been doing it for 15 years. A lot of my friends have gotten into the internet marketing tech thing, and they've made a ton of money, and they've helped a lot of people a little bit. But a lot of them have come back to doing this now that I never went away from, which is interacting with people directly. And like, I love watching someone go from lonely, challenged, insecure to filled with love, lots of opportunities, just in a state of joy most of the time. You know, it's not wizardry. We all are going to have ups and downs, but that's how waves work. But, you know, to be able to surf those experiences in life and just have a good time is the vision that I have. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, you're changing lots of lives in this town, and I'm sure many more to come.
Thanks, brother.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you doing this.
Anything that we didn't cover that you wish we had? You wish we had?
No. I think that was a great little pod.
Yeah, you're
appreciate it.
Inspiring. Thank you. Keep it up.
Thank you.